my gosh, guys, we are so excited to have joining us on the couch now. Mr. Cliff Bleszinski is here.
Hello, folks. Very good to see you.
Oh.
So how many E3s is this for you? This has been, like, you've been
I think it's about 400,000 at this point.
400,000th E3.
Yeah, I'm a little older, guys. Just Jazz Jackrabbit was a long time ago. And I honestly, like, when I was a wee lad who wanted to make video games, I used to look at what used to be CES, where they used to show off everything, and as that is the Super Bowl, and then E3 eventually became its own thing, and they had it in Atlanta for a couple of years, and I'm at the point where you can hear my voice is already starting to go. Like, we're day 2, halfway through it, I'm like, please hold, please hold. I still have to yammer on camera a lot more, and I still love it. And this, I was chatting with you guys before the show. This E3 means a lot to me because it's my studio now, and LawBreakers is RIP, and it's no longer Epic. And for me to see that banner and to somebody already got a tattoo of the game, and to see the cosplay we have on the show floor and the lineup, yeah, the least I could do is reimburse the guy because he has an Unreal tattoo on his neck and a Gears tattoo, and I'm like, come on, get the Jazz Jack tattoo in your.
And then it's just your face full size on his abs.
Well, that's when it starts getting weird, right? But I mean, this show, it's weird because the ESA has finally opened it up to the public, which, quite frankly, I think they should have done on quite some time ago, because Penny Arcade's been eating their lunch for some time. And you get more hype, you get more enthusiastic people. Like, when it's only trade people, sometimes you get the kind of jaded, hungover types at these events, right? And like standing in my booth and having these awesome LawBreakers hats and getting everybody hyped and tossing them out. It's amazing, and so you get that energy from the actual fans there.
Well, you get into this bubble, right? You get into this bubble where it's a bunch of people who've been doing this for a very long time, and they all sit in a circle and they tell each other things that they already know, and you kind of lose that direct conduit to the fans.
Yeah.
And it's got to be so wonderful to see, like, the direct excitement on people's faces.
And they all want to shake your hand, and I would love to shake their hand, but we've all been at these conventions and have had.
You know better than to shake all the hands.
The E3 packs, the PAX Pox, all that stuff. Like, you just hand sanitizer. So I'm like, fist bump.
Cliff hires an intern that is his stunt hand that will shake his hand for you. It kind of sticks his hand through.
I think I'm going to turn into that like weird Howard Hughes germaphobe in my old age, because it's just like, getting sick is the worst, especially after a convention, because you're already tired. And it's like these conventions, the high of them is so high, especially launching a new IP and seeing the banner and pressing the flesh with the fans, and to walk around the show floor and to see people wearing the Deadzo, which is kind of our signature. It's like the crimson omen of this new IP, the hoodies and the hats. It's like, oh my God, people are really feeling the game, that this is an amazing skill-based, gravity-defying shooter. That's pretty much the marketing line, but it describes the game rather well, I'd like to think.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, so exciting for you to have. I mean, you said it's its own banner. It's a new IP.
Yeah.
This is your studio, your baby, your project, your everything.
Yeah, I'm a little emotional. Yeah. So it's one of those things that if you look outside the convention center right now, every banner is for a sequel or an established IP, and our partners at Nexon, they double down. Those banners aren't cheap, by the way. They're spending some marketing money. We had that amazing trailer that was, with the remix of Spirit in the Sky. That's at like 5.3 million views on YouTube, and it has this little Guardians of the Galaxy vibe. You can kind of see the personality of the characters finally coming through in it. And for me, I was asked at some point by Kojima-san to work on the Silent Hill IP and to kind of work on that with him. And I'm like, A, I would probably screw it up. And B, I don't want to work in anybody else's world. I want to create my own. That's what I've done since I was 17 years old, and that's what I hope to continue to do. We're hoping to launch LawBreakers. Well, we are launching LawBreakers on August 8th, $29.99. Plug.
It's so soon.
Yeah,
you got to be stoked.
We're finally getting traction and hype, honestly, and it feels amazing. And like I'm happy we didn't have the hype before, because the alpha, it was all right. It was only 4 roles, 8 characters, a couple maps. The first beta was good, and the second beta, people are like, okay, I'm really getting this. And now that we're shipping with the full 9 roles, the full set, and then afterwards, like, I've played the 10th role. That's just going to show up on your version of the game for free. We're going to have new maps and new modes that just show up. We're going to continue to shuffle the deck and rebalance the game and make it a living product. Games as service is the term that they often like to use, and make just this crazy, vertical, violent first-person shooter. It's the kind of game I've always wanted to make.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about this. So role-based shooters are very big right now.
Yes, they are. I'm not the only a-hole that had the idea.
So hot right now.
So hot right now.
It's so clutch.
Yeah. But this is, you were working on Gears for so long. You were working on this franchise where you were able to watch everything that was kind of going on in the industry, but you can only change a Gears game so much before it doesn't feel like Gears anymore.
Well, that's the innovator's dilemma that all these games have. And, my friends over at Epic and id, there's a new Unreal Tournament, there's a new Quake, and they still play great. You play it for 30 minutes, and you're like, that's Unreal, that's Quake, that's cool. But, like, you need a little bit more depth for that, and so they're kind of slaves to that. If you change it too much, you've ruined it. If you don't change it enough, they say it's version 1.5.
Yeah.
And for me, being a new IP, I can do whatever the hell I want, and get away with it, and I'm not going to ruin like fans of the previous version. And so if it's a living product and we're releasing new roles, that's when they're going to complain. Oh, you released this new character that breaks the assassin, and you changed the balance of the juggernaut. You know, you've broken the game. And I'm like, I would rather have all of you out there yelling at me and calling me an asshole in comments than being indifferent. Because indifference means they're not playing the game and they don't care, they're not passionate, and they're not getting tattoos and scarring their body for something that I pulled out of my butt on a Tuesday morning.
So what are those things that you noticed when you were working on Gears, when you were working on the franchise, and when kind of LawBreakers, the first germ of LawBreakers popped into your head? What were things that you were seeing in shooters? What were things that you were seeing in online competitive play that you were like,
Right, like
these are things that I need to do,
Well,
and not just do,
as
but
the wish
build
list
on.
started to come together.
Well, I didn't want to do the character-based thing initially. I wanted to do like the whole like classic arena shooter, pick up the weapons. But you know, some of my gameplay programmers who were big MOBA fans are like, you know, you may want to consider the hero/character-based things, abilities on Q&E. And I fought it initially, but then I found that that's actually what gives the depth to the game. It gives a little bit of that rock paper scissors type of gameplay. And the genesis of the game came from multiple sources of my brain when I was sitting there retired, thinking I was going to ride off into the sunset. Whereas I was reading Leviathan Wakes, the book, and that, you know, in the Expanse as well, and it wound up becoming this thing where what happens if you fire a weapon in microgravity? Well, you go the opposite direction, right? And then I was able to do the zero-G flight many years ago, where the plane does parabolas. It goes up at a 45-degree angle, then it goes down, and you are like the cat in that famous internet video where you're floating, and it is an amazing
You get like
experience.
30 seconds to vomit, and then it goes up
Well,
again.
everyone who's intelligent goes to their doctor and they get a little anti-nausea pill.
Right.
Several of the people did not, and they usher them off to the zero-G side with a little zero-G bag.
Worst OK Go video ever.
Yeah, you want to be seeing globules of... Oh, God, that's good. You want to be seeing globules of, like, water or, like, M&Ms flying by. You don't want to see, like, somebody's, like, regurgitated croissant floating by.
Yeah,
So that was a lot of it. And I used to have a nightmare as a child of, like, gravity inverting, and I'd be sucked up into the atmosphere and, like, wind up getting hypoxia and falling back down and dying. Yeah, I don't sleep well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for me, this game's all about the verbs. It's all about the flow. How can I defy gravity and stay off the floor, because the floor is lava, essentially the game. Also at a goddamn good frame rate. We're 60 frames a second on PS4. If you have a decent PC, you're at like 144. Like none of this 30 frames a second crap.
So we're watching right now, we're watching a blitzball mode here. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on? Because we are seeing this central shaft that has the microgravity.
Yep.
We're seeing a lot of mobility outside on the perimeters of this map. How does this work?
So the game was built around the idea of modifiable gravity. Almost every map has a modifiable gravity section in the middle. A lot of maps have gravity spheres that you can get a gravity-assisted launch on. What you're seeing is this map called Blitzball. This person's playing as the Juggernaut, which is kind of one of our real true tanks with a shotgun called the Instigator. It has a blade on it. Sue me, I have a thing for putting sharp things on weapons, and he can also drop a shield.
It can be like a gun that's also a sword that's also like everything. I'd also like one that's a toothbrush if you can manage that.
You know what,
I'll call my people.
I think the bayonet is prior art. I think you're legally clear here.
I think I am, but the biggest thing about this mode is there's a ball in the middle, obviously. The ball is known as the Euro ball. It's the emotionally unstable robotic orb. And it's an EMP that you have to take to the enemy's base to kind of cut them off from the version of the internet so they can't allow access to data. But at the end of the day, I was like, how can I make this ball interesting? It has a little face on it, and it actually talks. And it has a shot clock that counts down, and it gets increasingly panicked. And I wound up casting Justin Roiland, who voices Rick and Morty. So the ball kind of sounds like a mashup of Morty and Meeseeks. And it's like, you pick up the ball, it's like, wow, you're pretty strong. And then as it starts counting down, it's like, oh, we're gonna die, because the ball explodes if the counter goes down.
Oh my gosh! So I love that. So you have this risk-reward thing of carrying the ball in, where it's like,
and you can't toss it. We had a pass mechanic in there, but we found people control their teammates. So once you have that ball, you better take it and score, or you're going to explode into little bits.
oh, so you literally have no choice but to carry it in once you pick it up.
And it's hilarious how, like, it actually will give you commentary if you kill people while you're carrying it. Like, wow, nice shot right in the face. Right? And so it's Justin being Justin and bringing, like, his sensibility to it. And we had an event with YouTubers and Twitch streamers and whatnot. And whenever I stood in front of them and I informed them that Justin was in fact doing the voice, you could see their faces all light up because he's such a goddamn talented voice actor.
He's so amazing. So I love like the little bits of character that you're bringing to us, because we have seen in these role-based shooters so many people, they don't just have their main because it's how they like to play mechanically, but it's because it's the character that they love the most in terms of personality. Can you tell us about some of the characters that we're seeing, both in terms of abilities and who they are?
Well, one of my favorite is one of the medic known as Fang. And our medics in our game, all of our support abilities are very much fire and forget. You notice with the Juggernaut, they just drop the shield. They're not doing the whole Reinhardt hold it. Our medics throw a healing orb at you. They don't follow behind you like Mercy does. That's kind of one of my MOs of very much fire and forget gameplay. Fang is this Taiwanese asshole. He's the head of Shura Corp,
sounds
which
nice.
is this Asian technology company, and he's modified himself to be a cyborg. He has a robotic jaw, which is my wink at Kojima-san with Raiden and whatnot.
Nice.
He has kind of a prosthetic arm as well, and he can kind of hover around, and he's very much full of himself. I also love Hellion, who's this kind of Palestinian badass who's a double amputee with her legs that kind of have blades on them, and she's an assassin using her dual blades and swinging around the map and whatnot. And she's super bubbly and super sweet and super cool. And all the way through to Kronos, who's an ex-prisoner who's now embraced the fact that he was a lifer, essentially, is this kind of subgroup. And we have cosplayers that we had put together of Maverick and Kronos on the show floor. And I'll tell you, it's the high of the banner, the high of the tattoos, but also characters that you really helped come up with. Seeing them like walking around in front of you in character, like Mylin playing Maverick and she's doing the whole like hold the gun and everything. It's a little creepy but amazing at the same time.
Well, I mean, if Kingsman: The Secret Service taught us anything, it's that sword legs are always a good idea.
Absolutely. For me, it was one of those things like having a fairly diverse cast in the game. I saw a cosplayer who was playing Furiosa a while back who was an amputee with her arm, and I thought about that. I'm like, oh my goodness, like to have somebody who actually has had that, and then if they ever cosplay it, that would be like crazy awesome to see that at a show. And for me, cosplay is such an amazing thing. My wife's gotten into it. It's Jess Negri also, like she makes all of her stuff. And so, like, I'm praying that this game does well so that I can show up at, like, E3 or PAX or any of these shows and see these awesome folks who've, like, worked for months on end, blood, sweat, and tears to make outfits for these characters. And from my end, I wanted the game to be a smidge more serious. Overwatch is such a good game. It's such a great IP. I main Pharah, my wife mains Mercy. But it's like, I don't want to really do Space Gorillas. That's not really me. I want to do something that's a little more for the Halo and Call of Duty crowd that doesn't necessarily have a little bit of that Pixar look at it and actually has blood coming off people, the occasional curse, as well as jibbing people. Because jibbing in games feels like a lost art. That's one thing I always loved about Quake.
No one does it anymore.
Thank you. I mean, it's one of those things.
Thank you for bringing it back.
The kids today, they don't even know. They don't even know about jibbing.
They're not even going to know what that means.
Well, they're going to learn, goddammit. And like when you have somebody with low health and you're the Wraith and you stab them in the face and they explode into little bits, you feel good.
I love this because this is peak Cliffy, man. I'm loving this because you really are bringing your entire sensibility to this genre, and it's wonderful to see it.
I think I'm bringing my sense of incredible impatience to the game because it's like, get me to the point, like slide, run, jump off the wall, do a triple jump, do all these crazy moves, ground pound, jump on everybody, and just like it's this kind of ADD that I kind of get that when you watch the game, it winds up being very compelling. And to this day, I find myself in the test lab. I'll just go by to get a refill of like a water or soda, and I'm looking at it. I'm just like slack-jawed watching our own game because we made something that's fast, it's crazy, I guess you could say peak Cliffy, but the watchability is there, the drama's there with the game modes, the countdowns when you have the battery and you have the 20 seconds and everyone's rallying to try and steal it at the last minute. It's those buzzer beater moments that we go for that kind of maybe one day might be an esport, but I'm not going to be that person that just says this is going to be an esport because there's so many people out there. Like I say,
literally everything is being presented as an esport right now.
It's a 4K virtual reality esport with roguelike elements.
Yep.
And I'm like, say esport one more time, motherfucker. It gets old. But
so let's, real quick here, people want to know a little bit about some specifics, number of modes, number of heroes and heroes we're going to see added throughout, like, maybe the first year.
You want the laundry list?
Yeah, let's go through the laundry list.
Let's run it down.
So we've revealed 4 modes initially, so we're going to ship with 4, and everyone's going to wind up liking one mode probably, and whatever the community decides upon. We have a custom game where you can reconfigure that as you see fit. We're shipping with 9 initial roles, and remember, it's Law versus Breakers, so there's 18 characters. That was a pet peeve of mine with the hero-based shooter thing, where it's like, we were heroes that fought the bad guys, but now we just fight each other. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, shouldn't you be good guys versus bad guys, cops versus robbers? That's pretty much what we're doing with LawBreakers, right? As well as I'm not really committing to the map number, but it will be a healthy stable. Like maybe 9-ish, 10-ish, maybe a little bit more. But I've played other maps that are going to be available after release, as I alluded to. People have joked, you're not pay to win, you're not free to play, you're pay to skin. And I'm like, I guess you can kind of say that because we have kind of our own crate system with a soft currency. But the power of seeing, a different, skin on your character when you see the hands, you see the legs, you die and you see your character in third person. If you're the MVP and you see the kind of final podium screen and you look great, as well as the power of weapon skins, which Counter-Strike Go has been leveraging nonstop. We kind of took the idea of the inspect button in our game where you can actually look at your gun and be like, ooh, look, my weapon looks like an avocado now. This is amazing. And like really like, kind of have that sense of flair with your character. character and your weapon and kind of express yourself from the crate system.
Well, I've always loved it, and I've always thought that it's a wonderful way to be able to sort of fund the ongoing development of a game that you pay for once. Because, like I said, if I love a character and I love that personality of that character, I also want to make that character reflect me.
Absolutely.
You know? And I love that sort of thing.
And it is a way to do it without compromising the gameplay, without compromising like balance or anything like that. It's time to talk about ethics.
Oh God!
Nope, cutting it off. Cutting it off. Is absolutely not.
Well, we were initially free to play, right? And like we thought about free to play, and I'm like, dude, like all I can think about is how I can milk money out of people when we were going to be free to play.
Yeah.
You know, oh, let's get some energy points and all that crap. And I'm just like, and then like, can we just make a great game that's at a reasonable price, like $29.99? And I always say, not this $60 multiplayer only bullshit, because there's so many games that are coming out disc based, and I'm like, you're multiplayer only, and you're $60, and you have microtrans, and gamers aren't dumb.
It feels like a bit much.
Yeah.
Gamers are like, yeah, that's some bullshit, and they vote with their dollars. And yes, you can pre-order the game now, like go to LawBreakers.com and all that. And I'm not the biggest fan of pre-ordering, but there's been enough people that have been like, shut up and take my money, and we're like, fine, you can pre-order the game if you want.
It's like if you really want, okay.
But it's not like we're digital. We're digital. We're not going to run out of copies or something. But if you really want to guarantee that copy, feel free, go on Steam and do it right now.
Sure.
Excellent. And August 12th is our launch
Oh,
date,
August
right?
8th.
August 8th is our launch date.
Yeah, August 8th. As of that time frame, it will have been 3 years since we started the studio. It's been a hell of a journey. I got my first gray hair. I was like, ding, not yet. And
he has it in a glass jar in his house.
Seriously,
He puts it up.
65 people in our little town of Raleigh, North Carolina. People from Sucker Punch, people from Sony, just all over the board who've come together and have learned how to work together and make a killer game that's dropping 8/8.
Well, that's awesome, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.